You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Cloud Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Log and event monitoring plays a central role in cloud security. Logs document the behavior of systems, services, and users by recording specific actions, state changes, or triggered events. Event monitoring processes this information in near real time to identify threats, operational issues, or policy violations. These two capabilities work together to provide the visibility needed for cloud infrastructure defense, incident response, and audit readiness. In the context of the Cloud Plus certification, log and event monitoring appears across the domains of operational awareness, compliance assurance, and threat detection. Without comprehensive logging, unauthorized access attempts, configuration changes, or data exfiltration may go unnoticed. Logs not only help detect breaches, but also allow analysts to understand the scope and timeline of an incident. They form the evidence needed to determine root causes and to validate that systems responded correctly to known threats. For auditing purposes, logs provide the accountability framework that regulators and security teams rely on to demonstrate proper controls. The exam includes questions that assess whether candidates can recognize missing logs or identify which log source is needed to support an investigation. Cloud environments generate numerous types of logs, each with a specific function. System logs record operating system-level activities like reboots, crashes, or driver errors. Audit logs track user actions such as logins, permission changes, and administrative tasks. Firewall logs monitor inbound and outbound traffic to detect denied connections or policy violations. Access logs document authentication attempts, while application logs reveal behavior like session creation, transaction errors, or performance issues. Candidates must be able to classify these logs and choose the appropriate log type for different detection or troubleshooting goals. Events are individual entries within a log that reflect meaningful actions or system behaviors. Not all log entries qualify as events. An event might be a failed login, a sudden increase in outbound traffic, or a service restarting unexpectedly. Event correlation links these actions across different systems and timeframes to build a broader picture. For example, an account login, followed by an unauthorized data export, could represent an insider threat. The exam may include scenarios where candidates must differentiate raw log lines from correlated events that require attention. Log files come in a variety of formats that support standardization and analysis. Syslog is a widely adopted format for Unix-based systems that uses structured text to convey severity and message type. JSON, or JavaScript Object Notation, is used for structured logging in modern applications and APIs. CEF, or Common Event Format, is popular in enterprise tools for its integration with security information and event management platforms. Understanding these formats is essential for interpreting logs and configuring collection pipelines. Candidates may be tested on the compatibility of these formats with cloud-native or third-party log tools. Centralized log collection is a practice that consolidates log data from multiple sources into a single system or repository. This is critical for cloud environments, where services are distributed and ephemeral. Centralization allows for consistent retention, cross-service correlation, and unified access control. Without central logging, administrators face difficulty tracking events across services or identifying patterns. Cloud Plus expects candidates to recognize when centralized log collection is required and how to implement it in multi-layered cloud architectures. Log retention policies determine how long logs are stored and under what circumstances they are archived or deleted. These policies are guided by both operational needs and legal obligations. For example, financial institutions may be required to retain logs for several years, while a development sandbox may only keep logs for days. Retention must also consider storage cost, data classification, and backup requirements. The exam may present a scenario involving a regulatory audit, and require candidates to identify whether the organization's retention policy supports compliance. Real-time monitoring allows security teams to identify threats or performance issues as they occur. It involves continuously scanning logs for predefined patterns or thresholds and generating alerts when those conditions are met. Historical analysis, on the other hand, uses archived logs to investigate incidents after the fact or to uncover long-term trends. Both approaches are required for complete visibility. Candidates must know how to balance the immediacy of real-time detection with the depth of historical research to support full incident lifecycle management. Security Information and Event Management, or SIEM, systems ingest logs and events from multiple sources, normalize the data, and correlate related activity. These platforms generate alerts when suspicious patterns are detected and support threat hunting, compliance reporting, and incident response. ASIEM may pull in logs from virtual machines, firewalls, cloud storage, identity platforms, and more. Cloud Plus includes questions about how SIEM systems integrate with cloud services and which log sources are necessary to provide full coverage. Alerting policies are configured in monitoring tools to determine when and how alerts are triggered. Thresholds must be carefully calibrated to avoid too many false positives, which can desensitize analysts and cause real threats to be missed. Conversely, overly conservative thresholds may miss actual events of concern. Alert severity levels should align with business impact and response protocols. Candidates should know how to tune alerts to reduce noise while preserving visibility, and ensure that alerting supports operational and security priorities. Cloud platforms provide native tools for logging and monitoring. Amazon Web Services offers CloudWatch for log collection and metric tracking. Microsoft Azure provides monitor and log analytics, while Google Cloud offers cloud logging. These tools often support integration with SIEM platforms or third-party monitoring solutions. They may also include built-in metrics and dashboards. The exam may test knowledge of which native tool offers specific log visibility or how to enable alerts for infrastructure-level events. Logging also plays a central role in compliance. Frameworks like the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, and International Organization for Standardization 27001 require that logs be retained, protected, and reviewed. Logs must show access control, configuration changes, and security policy enforcement. They must be protected from tampering, encrypted during storage and transit, and accessible for audit. The certification may include scenarios involving regulatory review and ask which logs are required to support compliance validation. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Identity and Access Management Logging tracks all user-related access events. These logs include login attempts, both successful and failed, session creation, token issuance, and privilege escalations. They are especially important in cloud environments, where user behavior can be tied to administrative interfaces, application services, and automation systems. When unusual access patterns occur, such as after-hours login attempts or role assignments without approval, these logs offer the clearest insight into potential misuse. Candidates must be able to identify which logs help detect unauthorized access and where they are stored in common cloud environments. Application logging records internal events within applications and exposes how users or processes interact with cloud services. For application programming interfaces, logs show the endpoints called, the method used, the parameters passed, and the return codes generated. These logs are indispensable when tracking failed transactions, suspicious automation activity, or excessive resource requests. When performance issues or abuse arise, these records offer detailed evidence of what occurred and when. The certification may test knowledge of application programming interface logging as it relates to both functionality and security behavior in cloud-native applications. Network logs, such as firewall logs, router logs, and virtual switch logs, allow administrators to understand traffic patterns across cloud boundaries. Flow logs, in particular, summarize ingress and egress data movements showing source, destination, volume, and protocol. These are essential when investigating port scanning, lateral movement, or data exfiltration. For example, a sudden spike in outbound traffic from a workload to an unfamiliar address could indicate data theft. The exam may present a network event and ask which log source would best validate or trace the behavior. Protecting log integrity ensures that the information captured cannot be altered or deleted without detection. This includes using cryptographic hashes to prove that logs have not been modified, implementing write-once read-many storage for immutability, and applying strict access controls. Logs must also include metadata such as timestamp, system of origin, and identity of the actor involved. For forensic use, these elements are essential to prove authenticity. Cloud Plus may require candidates to recognize when a log is no longer trustworthy or how to ensure audit trails remain intact. When logs are collected across multiple cloud providers, they must be normalized into a common schema to support unified analysis. One provider may log a failed login with different field names or status codes than another. Without normalization, analysis tools cannot correlate or compare logs effectively. Normalization platforms ingest logs from multiple formats and translate them into a standardized structure. The exam may include scenarios involving multi-cloud environments and ask how to support centralized logging and correlation across different providers. Log storage and encryption policies must protect log data both in motion and at rest. Transmission between services must use protocols like transport layer security to prevent eavesdropping. Stored logs must be encrypted with strong keys and protected by access control lists to prevent unauthorized review. Access to logs should be limited by job function, and all administrative access should itself be logged. The certification may present a scenario involving exposed log data and require identification of the missing protection mechanism. Metrics differ from logs in that they are numeric summaries of system performance, such as requests per second, CPU usage, or memory consumption. While logs document individual events, metrics provide trends over time. Metrics are used to trigger alerts about performance degradation, while logs are used to investigate the underlying cause. Candidates must know when to use metrics for monitoring dashboards and when detailed logs are required for root cause analysis or security investigation. Effective event monitoring depends on well-constructed dashboards and alert rules. Dashboards display both metrics and alerts to show system health, security posture, and compliance readiness in real time. Alert rules must be based on known thresholds or behavioral baselines. When alerts are generated, they must be routed to the correct teams and tracked for resolution. Candidates should be able to evaluate whether an alerting policy supports rapid detection and triage, or if tuning is needed to reduce false alarms. Retention and review of logs must align with both organizational policy and regulatory expectations. Logs that are not retained long enough may leave gaps in audits, while logs retained indefinitely can incur high storage costs and pose privacy risks. Candidates must know how to configure log retention settings, enforce minimum and maximum retention periods, and understand the difference between hot, warm, and cold storage in terms of performance and accessibility. Immutable logging ensures that once a log is created, it cannot be edited. This is often achieved using version-controlled storage or services that mark logs as write once. Immutability is essential for chain of custody during incident investigations and is often required by standards like International Organization for Standardization 27001. Candidates must be able to distinguish between logs stored in standard formats and those protected with immutable storage configurations. Correlating logs with user behavior provides additional insight into security events. If multiple failed login attempts are followed by a successful one from a new location, logs can suggest credential compromise. If configuration changes occur outside of normal hours, they may be flagged as suspicious. Candidates must be able to identify which combinations of logs are most useful for correlating security behaviors and determining risk severity. In summary, log and event monitoring provides the visibility necessary to detect, investigate, and respond to activity in cloud environments. Logs document every step of system behavior, and event monitoring transforms those records into actionable intelligence. To earn the Cloud Plus certification, candidates must master the differences between log types, understand storage and integrity controls, build efficient alerting mechanisms, and support compliance through proper logging practices. Comprehensive logging is not a convenience. It is a requirement for secure cloud operation. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.